VCons, saving that information, storing that information, potentially being able to take that information from A to B, analyzes, all of that stuff. There's a lot of questions about regulatory compliance. We are where we are. We are in Europe, so we are highly regulated, of course. GDPR, everybody knows the term. So we need to understand in a no-nonsense way, where are the risks, what are the limitations, possibility, and therefore I'm looking forward to the next panel and looking into the audience. It's a little hard to grasp everybody. Jason, Thomas, Nima, Tony, and Dean, do we have you here? If so, please come on stage now. Yes, please give them a round of applause. One. Hey, Tony, welcome. 1, 2, 3. Yes. 1, 2, is it working? Fantastic. Getting up here. Jason is here? Yeah, Jason. Mic'd up. There, I was looking for, the host is still missing, so fantastic, please. You're taking a seat?
Yeah, I'm emceeing today.
Fantastic, please, and then we have Jason coming in a second. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah, would you? Come on, Ben. Have a seat there, Ben. We'll give him 4. Well, thank you so much. This is, as we're waiting for Jason to be mic'd up. Very nice. So thanks for being here. This is the conversation around compliance and the data protections and all the permissions that VCons enable you to manage. And so what I'd like to do is just to start off with just a 1 minute just introduction to our panel and the way that your interests intersect with that. So Tony, just start us off, please.
All right, sure. Tony Nuzzo from Approved Contact. We have an SMS solution that works in WebEx, Teams, RingCentral, and Zoom, and hopefully soon to be Crescento.
Great.
And so essentially what we're trying to do from a VCon perspective is we also have a product called Permissions. And it's a new product for us, and what we're trying to do is enhance the permissions that you get. So from a brand perspective to the customer, to be more trusted, we want them to be able to send out and request access to things like, hey, are you okay with us using your voice in AI? Are you okay with us sending you texts? Are you okay with us calling you? Things like that, and we think that we can use the VCons to help us ensure that what they actually said in response to that or in other ways is what we have on our database, and so that it's almost like an insurance policy from that perspective for the brand to make sure that they're doing what that they're getting out of it what they thought the customer said. If there's a lawsuit in the future, things like that, from a security perspective, that it's covered in what they have.
Thanks, Tony. Nima.
Yeah, my name is Nima Golchini. I'm working for Enea, who is a software solution provider for telecommunication and cybersecurity. And under cybersecurity, we are providing the messaging and signaling firewall who helps our customer either on the CPaaS or telecom mobile operators in order to address their security requirements. Under the messaging firewall, we are basically looking to scanning the content of the messages, regardless if it's SMS, MMS, RBM, and we are applying all the necessary security messages to stop either spam or viruses to be spreaded. At the same time, also, we are helping our CPaaS customers to monetize this traffic. And the last but not the least, we are also providing the solution for addressing the compliance to the code of the conducts for the CPaaS customers or for the mobile operators to enforce their code of the conduct. And sometimes we are also providing the compliance for the regulatory requirements for different types of countries. We have a global base, and we are in this business for the last 20 years.
Great, thanks, Nima. So we have both Ben and Dean here from JLINC. So Ben, could you please introduce yourself and JLINC?
Sure. So privacy. I'm apparently so private I snuck on the panel. But my name is Ben Curtis. I work at a company called JLINC. So we've talked a lot today about how data moving between AI systems, signing it, where does it go? How do you know it's going to the right place? That's what we do. So we have a protocol for signing data with zero knowledge auditing to make sure that the different information going between all of these systems is what it says it is and goes where it's supposed to go.
Thank you. Dean, would you just, so Dean, as a representative from the data privacy world, would you just give us an introduction to yourself and some of the things that you're concerned with?
Well, I'm Dean Landsman from JLINC, and I just want to say what Ben said. Let me put it to you this way. The moment I heard Thomas speak the first time, which was at a Jeff Pulver thing, I thought, JLINC needs to be part of that because we can add to that. And what we can add to it is that we provide provenance from start to finish, which adds a security level from the moment the data begins to the moment the data ends, wherever it's going, so that if it goes anywhere else, it still belongs to the originator of the data. And that's very important from a GDPR point of view, from the California standard, the other 16 states that have standards. And it ensures that the data stays clean. And that's just really important. And adding that in any of a number of ways is really what JLINC is about. And from identity theft to all kinds of identity and digital personal data issues, JLINC is there to protect them and to be part of the system that protects them. And Ben can explain better how we work that technically, and I can explain to you the benefits of it.
Thanks, Dean. And last but surely not least, Jason Goecke.
Yes, my name is Jason Goecke. I'm with Creo. I'm the CTO. I've been in this space since the late 80s, before it was multi-channel, so watching it evolve over time. And I first came across VCons when I had lunch with Thomas out in Mountain View at a Jeff Pulver event as well. I think you were there. That's where we met as well. And I really think, back to what Kevin and Thomas were saying before, this really is an exciting time of what we're doing here, and what it can do around the compliance side is a big piece of that.
Great, thank you so much. So here, Tony, let's start off with you. I'd like you just for a second, I know maybe we don't all know, so tell us a little bit about approved contact and the problem that you solve for your customers and why it's important.
Yeah, so I think one of the main things we've been seeing a lot more of lately, when we talk to our customers, we sell through resellers mostly. So when we talk to them, I would say 3 or 4 times a week, I'm on a call with one of their customers that is talking about security and safety for them from the standpoint of, hey, I just heard so-and-so was involved in a huge lawsuit. How do we make sure that that doesn't happen to us? So as we work through that more and more over time, what we saw is that there was a need in the marketplace to make sure that there was almost number-to-number approval, as opposed to, yeah, they said it was okay. I was on a phone call with them. In the United States, you have the campaign registry, which everybody hates. Not me. We're on camera, right?
But yeah, we love them. Yeah. Please approve our stuff.
But the point is that they are trying to, they're getting brands to recognize the fact that they need to be legitimate, but they're not stopping the spam calls and the things that cause the lawsuits and things like that. So we saw an opportunity in the marketplace for us to create this permissions product that, again, allows the brands to validate that they truly have permission. And I think one of the cool things about the VCon is that, and I've talked to a lot of people, not in the room necessarily, but on the panel and things like that, this morning already, that I'm like, hey, that would be a great person to work with. That would be a great person to work with, because the VCon will put us all on the same footing from a data perspective, and allow us to kind of work together to build a solution that, from our perspective, is that it is that insurance policy for the brands to make sure that they get what they need from a data perspective, that their customers are really their customers. And we talked, there's been a lot of slides about trust, and I think that's our number one thing that we sell, is that, hey, you want to be a trusted brand, not just a brand. So this is a really good way to do that, and a way to validate that you've been trusted is with the VCon.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. So Nima, so you have a similar kind of problem, but a little different. Tell us why the messaging firewall is important for your customers.
Absolutely. Because we are seeing lots of the Tony's customer are coming to the market, and sometimes they do not have enough good security measure in place. So what happened that when they are trying to communicate through these CPaaS customers, their account takeover sometimes happen. So lots of spam generation is coming, and they're not aware of it. And on the CPaaS side, they have obligation in order to clean up this traffic before sending to the mobile operators and the end consumers. So that's why it's very important for both CPaaS and mobile operator to put the security measures in order to protect the end user customers from receiving the spam, unwanted content, and so on, or the phishings. And that's very important for all of our customers to make a clean pipeline.
Yeah, great. And so I also wanted to just touch on this before we get too far from it. I love when we have new services that started from old services. So because you do that service, now you can do other database services like compliance. So tell me us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. So each of the mobile operators or country have a different compliance and code of the conduct. So, for example, in one of the US mobile operators, they put about the campaign drifting is forbidden, for example. So, as you mentioned, the TCR is basically trying to register all of the campaign before trying to send it. However, we are seeing that some of the brands and companies are coming and register one thing, and when it's coming to the delivery of the message, they are sending completely something else. And that's how we can detecting this type of drifting in order to make sure that we are putting in place the enforcement. And that's how we are helping our mobile operators in order to enforce that code of conduct. From the regulatory wise, for example, in France, they are asking that everybody can receive the messages at any time of day, but during the weekends or statutory holiday, only you are allowed to receive the OTP messages. So we have to have intelligence by our AI model solution to understand if these messages are conversational versus promotion versus, I don't know, two-factor authentication. If it's a two-factor authentication, then we are allowing that type of traffic to reach the France.
Beautiful, great, that's wonderful. Okay, so before I give it to Ben, because I think Ben's got some really great use cases that we might not be familiar with in the telco CPaaS world, one of the most interesting uses for VCons, you might have heard it a few times, is to be used as robot food. So as you might understand that a lot of the data that we feed AI models now comes from publicly available sources, but the conversations we have with our customers are really interesting places to get data, and they're a very good target for AI analysis. But as you all might imagine, it's not so easy as that. So I'd love to hear about JLINC and what JLINC's real use cases are in terms of provenance and permissions in the AI world, because we're all about to generate a lot of robot food and get more into your place. So tell us about that.
Sure. So we've been around for a long time, but AI is something that has crept very deeply into what we do. What we're seeing is that a lot of the industry is moving to similar structures to what VCons are doing, and that's why VCon was interesting to us, because it's a centralized way to do this, especially through things like the con server. But as data is moving through these systems, say you've got a system of information that's defense-related or healthcare-related, and you can only send it to private entities for analysis, say a locally hosted model, or you've got public data that may be able to go somewhere cheaper, like sending it through Anthropic or OpenAI for meta tagging or Whisper for transcription. Being able to determine that A, it's going to the right place is important, but also being able to trust, as was mentioned earlier, is important. And what we look at doing is we have a very efficient, i.e. fast, system for signing that data on behalf of each of the recipients and senders, and then being able to send a piece of metadata that is a zero-knowledge audit record to a third party. And what that allows these companies to do is basically pass any form of audit saying, not only did we do what you said you would with the data, but that it originated from this company or this individual, and it was cryptographically signed to say so, and that we can go to a third party and they can prove that that took place without ever seeing that private data, which in the context of a conversation is extremely important, especially when that data is the thing that is valuable and you don't want it to leave your system. So we're seeing that happen in a lot of different industries, and telecom is one we have recently jumped into.
That's beautiful, thank you. Dean, you're gonna finish this up, but I'm gonna have Jason here pick up something. So, So tell us from your perspective and Creo's perspective, you know, what is the enabler? What are the worries? How do you see permissions and auditing and compliance from your aspect?
Well, that's a key aspect of it, because what this really allows is businesses to truly own their data. Right now, it sits inside proprietary systems and platforms, and there's no standard to do that. This brings a standard that actually allows you to codify everything you need from GDPR permissions, compliance, et cetera, and it's really baked into the platform. I think of it somewhat in the Web3 world as like a smart contract. You've got your consent built in, it travels with that data, and allows you to build applications that are truly secure and trusted and compliant across everybody's data at that point. So from our perspective, we start adding value in a very confident way to anyone out there that embraces the VCon standard.
Beautiful, thank you. And lastly, Dean has a lot of experience in the CRM data world, and I'd like to have you talk for a minute about what VCons and provenance can do for the next generation of CRMs that many of us feel are conversational, not just the old kind of CRM.
It's interesting you say that. Early on, there was a feeling that CRM was a horrible, mean, ghastly thing that was just taking. And a lot of that has changed over the years. But with CRM needing to, being based on gathering a lot of data, there's a feeling that that data is being used in some ways against the customer, not for the customer. VCons change that, and the way JLINC fits into that is, as I said earlier, the beginning of the data and the end of the data don't change. So when a contact says they like bourbon-colored sweaters, it stays with them, and it's their data. Now, CRM might just say, oh, bourbon-colored sweaters, and put that all over the place. It can't be done when it's specific to a VCon. And JLINC goes about protecting data. It's like a guardrail on either side of the data. This is what it is. CRM hasn't really had that. CRM has been generalized, not specified. And these days, CRM is welcoming that. I sit in every week on a high-level CRM call, and I've mentioned this, and there's a lot of tell me more, how can we get that? So we're making strides, and the strides are in the technical ability to do right by the consumer. It's an end-user thing. This was mentioned in a few earlier panels. How do we make it better for the end user? Now, we all know that we want to make money, we want to do well in what we do, but it's got to be value to the end user, and we're delivering that value.
Great, thank you so much. So we've just run out of time, but do we have time for a question or so? Is that okay? Are we done? Okay, we're done. So,
Coffee break coming up.
oh yeah,
so
we'll all be here in the coffee
you
break.
know the topics.
You can
now.
buy us beers later. We're good with that. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason, you still have your slides, right? So you still have.
Yes, I sent them in.
Yes, no.